Political infighting continues in Chennai. The state of Tamil Nadu is reeling under severe crisis. With governance being the last thing on Neta's mind, a major road in Chennai, Mount Road, caved in April. Several cars and buses fell through. But Netas continued to fight with each other. As summer peaks and Tamil Nadu suffers from the worst drought in years, households are running dry and groundwater is being drained out completely to meet Chennai's needs. Massive power outages have gripped the state. Meanwhile, bureaucracy has hit an all-time low. Government teacher vacancies have not been filled, neither have Netas visited their constituencies.
There are some lacunas. I think the Chief Minister should take immediate action on all those things. I think Chief Minister has already wrote to the Government of India. He should follow that and get the permission from the Government of India.
We believe that there are certain things which are happening right, certain things where the government has to change their own stances. This image that this government is driven by Madam Sashikala and her family needs to be laid to rest. So some of these steps, if they take, the government will be seen to be a lot more active than what it really is.
So what are the developments as far as the merger is concerned between the OPS-EPS camp?
Mr. KP Munusamy, former minister, had made it very clear that the conditions laid down with regard to the probe into the mysterious death of Honorable Puratchi Thalavi Amma and the removal of Sasikala family from the party are preconditions for any talks that subsists as on date.
So there's a picture doing the rounds of three state ministers sharing the stage along with Sashikala's husband and Sashikala's brother. Has that, deterred talks in any way?
It is a clear evidence on record to show that they are still in touch with the Sasikala family as on date. It proves on record that they have not kept up their statements which they said and made it clear to everybody that they have removed Sasikala from the party.
And finally, Mr. Paneerselvam is starting off a statewide tour from May 5th. There are many who are connecting the dots saying that this means there will be no talks for a merger. What does your camp have to say about that?
Mr. KP Munusamy had announced the program of Mr. Paneerselvam, former Chief Minister, but that is independent of the talks. He has made it very clear with regard to that. It is independent of the talks.
Thank you, Mr. Pandya.
All right, my colleague Akshata Nandgopal joining us live on the story. Akshata, in the middle of infighting, in the middle of possible merger, no merger, and the conspiracy theories going about, it is governance which is suffering, especially where the state of Tamil Nadu is concerned.
Absolutely, Preeti. In this case, politics clearly has trumped governance in the state of Tamil Nadu. And if you think really the situation is different, at least in the capital Chennai, where, everyone's based out of, ministers tend to focus more on Chennai, completely wrong. Here too, there's an absolute crisis. And I'm talking about basic civic issues. As you pointed out, there are road cave-ins, there's a big water crisis, there's a power crisis. We're talking about peak summer and already things are clearly crumbling around us. I spoke to so many Chennaiites, all of them have voiced one concern, saying that clearly the government at this point is busy with its own political problems. What about the problems of the people? You've got students sitting on a protest right now. You've got the NEET issue. You've got the Real Estate Regulation Act. All of it just about hanging around there because the government has failed to act. They're busy meeting every single day over a merger. The secretariat is left absolutely empty. There's nobody at the secretariat any day you go there because there's no work getting done. Even as far as bureaucracy is concerned, it's come to an absolute standstill and no work is getting done here in the state of Tamil Nadu. There are no orders being passed. There's no development taking place. Soon after Jayalalitha passed away, I date back to December. I think since then, things have come to a standstill here in Tamil Nadu. It's not just since this infighting, it's not just since this, merger or no merger talk began, but ever since then, everyone spoke of a political void being present in Tamil Nadu. This is exactly what they were referring to, that the, fight over who will get the throne in Tamil Nadu takes precedence over ensuring that Tamil Nadu is well governed for and carrying forward what Jayalalitha stood for. Her legacy largely was about the people and for the people. All of that seems to be forgotten in this political war.
Akshata, just give us, just a ballpark figure. I'm sure you have some in mind as to how many legislative decisions has been made by this government ever since the demise of Jayalalitha.
When the OPS, O. Pannirselvam, was the chief minister, soon after Jayalalitha's demise, before, of course, the entire political turmoil began, we did see some strong decisions being taken. Even, of course, the way he handled Cyclone Varda, the aftermath of that, we saw, of course, the legislation with regards to Jallikattu. All of that did take place, Preeti. So initially, it did seem like, look, it's going to be okay, that governance is not going to take a hit. It's post that, once we saw all of that fighting within the AIADMK for power, is when governance really took a hit, and that's when it suffered. The latest legislation that I can think of is, of course, what we saw with farmers with regards to ensuring that they are taken care of. We've seen some small steps. For example, of course, to deal with the water crisis, the government has ensured that they pump in additional, money, additional funds to ensure that drinking water is supplied to the people of Chennai. But it needs to go a lot beyond that, because we're talking about one of the worst droughts that's hit Tamil Nadu. Small sanctions here and there is not going to do anything. It's not going to make any difference on the ground, Preeti. And that's what the people, that's what the government really needs to realize. We're talking about a power issue. The power minister comes out and says, look, there's a power surplus, and shrugs his shoulders, when actually the reality is that here in Chennai alone, we see power cuts every single day. God can only imagine what the situation is in rural parts of Tamil Nadu. So for the government to, claim that all is well and that things are really bright and sunny right now and that things are perfect is absolutely wrong. The people of Tamil Nadu at this point need a strong government, need a head who will ensure that things are brought in place.
Akshata, we're getting a lot of opinion right now. Just stay on with me. Joining me is Pramila Nasargi. She's an activist. She joins us from Bangalore. Ms. Nasargi, what do you make of what's going on? All the way in Chennai, all the way in Tamil Nadu, so many issues of governance completely paralyzed right now, while this infighting, possible merger, no merger, conspiracy theories abound.
This is only a power struggle. Both EPS and the other government, they are fighting amongst themselves. In the bargain, the public are suffering. There is no governance whatsoever in the state of Tamil Nadu. See, high time that governor takes notice of it, and then they say there is no law and order problem. Is that there is no governance? It is high time that the governor must recommend to the central government or find the president role. That's the only remedy. Otherwise, they can't. Unless and until they can find out who the leader is, unless and until there is a merger. If there is no merger, this fight is going to continue. But even among the two factions, there is no unanimity among themselves. Some of them are in support of Shasikara and Dinakaran. Some of them are in favor of the present minister. But in the bargain, there is no governance whatsoever. They are not knowing what to do and what not to do. The farmers are suffering, the government is suffering, the public are suffering, the want of electricity, want of governance. Almost all people are suffering, and people are not knowing where to go and how to look at. In this situation, the only thing that can be done by the governor is to recommend, follow the situation, observe for some more time, and see that there is no governance, and recommend to the central government to appoint the president role.
All right, appreciate you joining me. We'll keep coming back for more updates there as well, Akshita. Thank you there. Now, on the political front, a fortnight ago, Tamil Nadu's Chief Minister EPS's supporters assured OPS camp that Sasikala and her family have been ousted from the party. Now, the merger of the OPS and EPS factions has hit a roadblock. The merger only seems to be getting delayed. OPS faction still remains adamant on its demand to probe late Chief Minister Jayalalitha's death and ouster of Sasikala from the AIADMK. OPS has accused current Chief Minister of siding with Dinakaran. The EPS government's cabinet met earlier today in Chennai. They clarified they were ready for merger talks and said that dialogue was the only way forward. However, the rift between the party only seems to be expanding despite both Sasikala and her nephew Dinakaran being in jail.
Sir KP Munusamy, former minister, had made it very clear that the conditions laid down with regard to the probe into the mysterious death of Honorable Puratchi Thalavi Amma and the removal of Sasikala family from the party are preconditions for any talks that subsists as on date.
கண்டிப்பா எங்க தரப்புல தெளிவா இருக்கும். அவங்க தரப்புலயும் எப்போ வந்தாலும் நிபந்தனையற்ற பேச்சுக்கிறாங்க, தயாரா இருக்குன்ட்டு நேற்று கூட சிஎம் பேசியிருக்காங்க. கண்டிப்பா நிச்சயமா ஒரு நல்ல சுமூகமா இருக்கும். இப்போதைக்கு தேவை நிபந்தனையற்ற பேச்சுவார்த்தைக்கு வாங்க. எதா இருந்தாலும் பேசினாதான் என்னன்னு தெரியும்.
All right, joining me for more is my colleague Pramod. Pramod, it's whether they're on, they're off, they're on again, but with the latest coming in, it clearly seems that the Manargudi clan and its supporters still embedded where the EPS faction is concerned.
That is so true. The Monakudi clan still has a kind of grip over AIADMK, and that is not easily possible to remove them, uproot them totally, because imagine since 1996 they had a stronghold over the party, and since the entry was during 1991, and her Shashikala's family, Natarajan, his entry into Dravidian parties was way back in the 1980s itself. He was one person who was like moving along with Karunanidhi and MGR. That way he has rooted himself totally into AIADMK, and right now just by one day you cannot, or by removing a certain amount of banners, you cannot remove her family. That is a known fact. Even then, Team OPS insists that they should be completely removed. I could say like close to 40 people, 40 strong, powerful people are still inside AIADMK who belong to Shashikala. Some of them are still ministers as well. That is why OPS is not at all trusting EPS. And even like after the merge talks began, it took them nearly 5 days to even remove the banners of Shashikala from AIADMK headquarters. That was considered as a welcome move. But what occurred yesterday, where we saw ministers of AIADMK, especially Kamaraj Food Minister and some MLAs moving along with Shashikala's family members, her husband Nataraj and Divakaran, has completely irked Team OPS, and he has stated like you cannot trust him. It is his word. He says like cannot trust him. And as you mentioned, he's also bringing a new allegation that CM EPS is still in partnership with TTV Dinakaran, and he cannot be trusted unless they get a proper affidavit that the Shashikala's family is entirely removed from this AIADMK party. They will not go ahead for the talks. This is the stance of the Team OPS for now.
All right, appreciate you joining us, Pramod. We'll be back with you for more.